Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to this event. I'm Yasmin Taj, Senior Editor with People Matters Media, and I'm extremely happy to welcome you all to this episode of Top Jobs in India, an initiative to help people find jobs, a one of its kind series brought to you by Indeed and People Matters. For those of you who might be hearing about Indeed for the first time, well, they are the world's number one job site with 25 crore plus unique people visiting globally every month looking for their next big opportunity. And in case you're not one of those 25 crore people, you should go check out their site indeed.com immediately. So, looking for a new job is one of the most difficult and stressful decisions for anyone out here. There's so many things to consider. Will I be a perfect fit for the new job? How is the culture of the company I'm going to be part of? What will be my onboarding process like? What will my work life balance be like? Endless questions like this circle our thoughts while applying for a new role. These questions are only amplified with everything happening virtually right now. So we thought, why not give everyone a first-hand view of what it is like to work for some of the top companies in India? And that's wherein this hiring week came along. This initiative is our small effort to help job seekers understand about the top companies in India a little better. And with that, it is my pleasure to welcome our guest for this episode, Aakratee Vajpai, Vice President Human Resources at Jubilant FoodWorks. With over 15 years plus of experience across different areas of HR, Aakratee leads the COE for talent management, capability and culture building, organization design, and performance management for Jubilant FoodWorks. She also heads the HR business partnering vertical for emerging businesses, Dunkin' Donuts, Hong's Kitchen, international markets, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh for Domino's, and all corporate functions. Thank you, Aakratee, for taking out time and joining us today. I'm going to pick your brain today to ensure all our viewers who joined us understand Jubilant FoodWorks a little better after this session.
Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you for such a warm welcome and look forward to the session.
Absolutely, same here. So let me also give everyone a quick overview of Jubilant FoodWorks. Jubilant FoodWorks Limited is a part of Jubilant Bharatiya Group and is one of India's largest food service companies with a network of 1,354 Domino's Pizza restaurants across 288 cities. The company has exclusive rights for developing and operating Dunkin' Donuts restaurants for India and has 30 Dunkin' Donuts restaurants across 10 cities in India. To all our viewers, if you want to know anything specific about Jubilant FoodWorks, please post your questions in the comments section, which is on the right side of your screen. If you're watching this episode through our Facebook or YouTube channel, please feel free to post your questions in the comments section. We will try and answer most of the questions that you have. So guys, keep the questions flowing. And now, without further ado, let's begin this interesting conversation with Aakratee. So, Aakratee, my first question to you would be, how would you help us understand the work culture at Jubilant FoodWorks? What does that look like?
Sure. I think, thank you for the introduction to Jubilant FoodWorks. And I'll add a couple of more lines to it, actually. Jubilant FoodWorks, of course, known in the market for operating brands like Domino's Pizza, Dunkin' Donuts, but also we have recently forayed into new brands, our own homegrown brands as well. Hong's Kitchen being one of them. We've experimented with we forayed into new food court models, and we've also, in fact, forayed into the FMCG space very recently. I think for those of you who follow Jubilant FoodWorks closely, we've recently launched the Chef Boss brand, under which we've actually made our entry into the FMCG segment. So yes, so absolutely diverse. Across different food services, growing and, I think continuing to grow more. So that's a little bit about, let's a little bit more about Jubilant FoodWorks. I think coming to the work culture, I'd actually like to start with talking a little bit about the industry. I think this is an industry which all of us, are not very alien to the industry. We are at the end of the day consumers of this industry. I think all of us enjoy eating out in these times, enjoy delivery, not just from Domino's, but from anybody else, right? So I think as consumers, you would realize the amount of disruption that's happened in the industry over the last 3 to 4 years. With the coming in of Swiggy, Zomato, and many other chains, the space is no longer what it used to be, right? Which makes this a very, very exciting industry to be a part of. With so much disruption happening on all fronts, I think it makes all organizations, which are a part of the industry, also reflect, a similar ethos within the organization itself. right? Which means that if I talk about a work culture in an industry which is so dynamic is bound to be very, very fast paced, very innovation led. Thereby giving each employee to really learn something new each day, work on something new each day, to be able, to be agile, to be able to understand what's happening in the market around them, and thereby being, able to ensure that they're working on things which are disruptive to ensure that, they're taking their organization to the next level, right? So I think all that is very reflective in our work culture as well. Extremely people centric, very, very supportive, ensuring that we give space to our people to work, and yes, fast paced and innovation led. I think that's how I would like to describe our work culture.
Lovely. I think it was such a people intensive industry. I think it's really important to be fast paced, people centric, and also important to have innovation in there, as a core cultural value. So thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Akriti. So the next question would be, we've been hearing a lot about talk about unemployment in the news lately, a lot of layoffs and stuff. So how do you foresee the overall job market in India shaping up in the next 6 to 9 months, specifically in your industry, Akriti?
Okay, so I think our industry. So let me start with the overall job market. And this is personally my view. Of course, it's been a little on the cautious side over the last 5 to 6 months for obvious reasons. I think a lot of organizations, of course, were very badly hit. A lot of industries were very badly hit. A lot of organizations have also taken this time to almost rethink their business model and see, how it's going to evolve, change, and which is why perhaps gone a little cautious on hiring. I think it's going to start to look up from now. Be it the economy is hopefully going to not, I mean, it's going to it's already on its path to recovery, and it's most of the industries are starting to see the signs of very positive signs of recovery, including those which were very, very badly hit, right? So these are all positive signs, and I think it's going to start reflecting on the hiring as well of industries. Um our industry in specific, the entire food service industry, again, very, 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 badly hit in March and April when the lockdowns happened. But slowly over a period of time, the chains got permission to open, and by I think mid-May or so, most of the network was completely open, right? That being so, we have seen a recovery. Most of the players in our kind of an industry have, especially on the delivery front. And again, if you follow Jubilant FoodWorks and our results closely, we spoke about it in our last investor call as well, that we are starting to see a sharp recovery happening across different segments, right? Which makes us quite bullish on the future. There is growth coming in, and of course, expansion and all of this will continue to happen. Over the next 6 to 8 months, definitely now specifically talking about our industry and Jubilant FoodWorks. Yes, of course, we've already started expanding. We started opening. We've gone back to our store opening plans. Yes, the business model has changed a little bit. The kind of stores where we open may change a little bit, but however, expansion is still on the cards. As an organization, we are investing a lot in two parts. One is, of course, hiring for our store staff across different cities, across different brands. But on the same time, we are also investing very, very heavily on our digital assets, which means there's significant amount of hiring that's happening on the product and technology front. Yeah, so I think those are two parts where, as an organization, we see demand to rise over the next few months.
Great. I think that's some great news for people as the industry is recovering, the economy is recovering, a lot of jobs will be coming back. So thanks for taking us through that, Akriti. So if you're looking at, since you spoke about hiring, so at Jubilant FoodWorks, what are the major roles that you're hiring for right now, or you're planning to hire for in the next 6 to 9 months, Akriti?
Okay. So, I like I mentioned, there are almost two kinds of roles that we're looking at hiring. One is, of course, as we are growing across different cities, expanding our brand network, opening more stores. One is, of course, our store staff that we continuously hire for. So for those of you who are interested in being a part of our operations organization, definitely keep a tab. And there are opportunities across different cities, across different brands, right? So that's one kind of a role that we hire for. Within the store, there are store managerial levels. There are, you're all familiar with a Domino's store, right? So starting from the delivery staff to the people who make the pizzas to the store manager network and so on and so forth. That's one kind of a role that's one part of the organization that we're hiring for extensively. The other part of the organization that we're hiring a lot in is, of course, across the corporate functions. Critical roles across different, functions like supply chain, finance that are open. We also have we are also expanding our product and technology teams significantly. I think as an organization, we had we made this shift, or we're in the process of making this shift from, let's say, a traditional retail organization to a very digital food tech organization, and expanding our digital tech teams, foraying into ensuring we are strengthening our digital assets to be able to reach the consumer of tomorrow is a key priority. And for that, there are roles available across different domains in product, tech, analytics teams.
Great, thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Aakratee. I think that does open up a lot of opportunities for people. So, are there any specific locations that you're trying to hire for? Also, given the fact that a lot of companies are now pivoting towards a hybrid workplace, is Jubilant FoodWorks planning to open up some of the roles for remote work? So, maybe you can just talk a little bit more about your entire long-term workforce strategy, Aakratee.
Sure. So, of course, I think we are hiring across locations, especially as far as our store goes. For the other roles, we were actually headquartered in Noida, NCR, and that's where we used to operate most of our other roles from. As an organization, of course, over the last 6-7 months, like many other organizations, we've been working completely remotely, right? And we've, of course, realized that this is now a strategy which is going to be here for the long term. We are still internally debating on how this is going to work. Are we serious about building a hybrid workforce? Yes, it seems to be. It seems to be a reality of tomorrow, and definitely this is something that the organization is also thinking of. So as we speak, we're actually working across different functions to see what are the kind of roles or teams that could work remotely. What are the roles, teams, that could work, let's say, partially from office, partially from home, and which are the kind of roles that definitely need to be in office. So that's something that's work in place. So of course, in future. Remote working for certain roles across the organization looks to be a reality. We're also working on, what are the kind of different policies, processes that are needed to ensure that a hybrid workplace of tomorrow works out well. And those are things which are in the pipeline and foray as well for us.
Great, thanks. Thanks for sharing that, Aakratee. So, Aakratee, let's say if I were to apply for a job at Jubilant FoodWorks, what would be the expectations from me in terms of skill sets and work experience?
Okay, so of course, depending upon what part of the organization and what role that you're applying for, there is, of course, a functional skill set which is, definitely usually mentioned as a part of any job description that you look at for Jubilant FoodWorks. But I think some of the things that we look at, irrespective of whatever role that you're applying, so we look at candidates who come in and display a very high ownership and accountability, who've displayed that in their past experience as well. That's one thing that we value a lot in our employees. That's one thing that we value a lot and we look for in the candidates who are applying to us. The second thing would be, ability. You should have demonstrated ability to work in a very fast-paced environment, to be able to understand and thrive in an environment where there are a lot of changes, perhaps sometimes ambiguity as well. But as an individual, you should be able to thrive in that environment and actually see it as an opportunity to be able to learn and do new things, right? The third thing that we look in all our people is really to be forward looking, to be able to understand in your functional space what are the kind of developments that are happening across. Um, what's the what are the some what's happening, let's say, on the digital front. How could you how what the evolutions that are happening in your functional space, basically be more aware, have a perspective, have a point of view. So I think those are some of the things that we look at in all our candidates. And of course, ability to work well with people. We are people centric, like I said, ability to collaborate well with cross functional teams. There's barely any situation that you work in silos, right? So, to be able to do that effectively is again something that we look at in all our
Great, thanks. Thanks. I like the fact that you also look for accountability, ownership, and the ability to work in fast-paced organization. That's I think key skill that people need to have today, because things are changing like in the fraction of a second these days. So
yeah.
thanks for sharing that. So are there any changes that you've made to your assessment or interview process during this pandemic, Akriti?
So of course, everything is virtual now. So before COVID, most of our rounds is to ensure, at least if the individual was present in the same city, to ensure that there is physical meetings, because I think that gives a good sense to the candidate as well. But over the last 5 to 6 months, everything has been virtual. All rounds have been virtual. um, what we've tried to do is, however, ensure that the individual, irrespective of the role that is being hired for, gets to meet at least a few people, let's say from the function, not just the hiring manager, but maybe a couple of other people as well. Have a more extensive round with HR, just for them to get a feeler of the organization, what are the kind of people, and we be able to make a decision that is actually both ways, because individual is not physically coming, seeing an office, right? So it's very important that they understand the kind of vibe, the kind of people, the kind of culture that the organization may have. So I think that's an endeavor that we've tried to do.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
Great. Thanks. Yeah.
Sorry,
So are there
just
any?
yeah.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Please go ahead,
No, I
Akriti.
was just going to add one more thing to it. We've also started onboarding our candidates completely virtually. But at the same time, we're trying to ensure that they get a full feel of our business, our industry. So there are a lot of virtual tours, etc., that we do for all our new joinees now. So which gives them a real first-hand feel of the organization that they're joining.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. I was actually about to ask you what you're doing about this, creating this experience during virtual times. So you already answered that. So thanks, Akriti. So now I'll come down to my final question for you. And if you had to call out just three things on why a candidate should join Jubilant FoodWorks, what would those be?
Okay, so I think one is, of course, if the candidate is serious about building their own career. So typically at Jubilant FoodWorks, when we hire, we don't just hire for a job. We look at hiring people who we see can build their career. So there's extensive focus there, right? So to be able to build their career, to be able to grow, and that grows across levels. Whether we're hiring people in our stores, right from the delivery boy, right? Some of the other players in the industry don't focus so much on that segment, but we ensure that there is enough focus on the career, irrespective of the level that you join in, right? So I think that's one thing candidates must look for. We're also a large organization operating across different cities, brands, countries now, right? So definitely a lot of career opportunities for people to grow within the same organization. So that's one thing. I think second thing is, again, from an industry and organization standpoint, very very high growth, very fast paced, and very futuristic looking, right? So if individuals are excited to work in an organization like that, then definitely this is the place to be. And third is, it's a 30,000 people strong organization. So definitely an organization where we value we value people, we value kind of ensure that they get good work to do. So that's it.
Great, thanks, Aakratee. Thanks for sharing that. I can see a lot of questions coming up from our audience already, and I think I'll jump on to those so that we don't miss out many of them. So the first question is obviously about the career trajectory at someone who's joining Jubilant FoodWorks. So how would you describe that?
Okay, so again, depending upon what part of the organization you start with, but we've had people actually, who literally have made their career right up from a delivery boy. So people who've joined in as a delivery boy who are now, heading stores, who are now heading specific who are now in managerial roles across different stores. We've also had, let's say, people who are joining us either laterally or fresh from campus, and being able to grow across different verticals. So I mean, I can't really talk about a specific career trajectory, but yes, depending upon whether you're a fresher, campus hire, lateral hire, or store operations or corporate functions, there is definitely a focus on building the career there.
Great, thank you. So do you have any hiring plans for freshers or campus placements? Do you have them in place right now?
We do actually. So we visit campuses every year. We visit so a large part, of course, is from the Hotel Management Institute, where we visit for our store operations, and we also visit specific engineering institutes for our supply chain and factory manpower. We also visit MBA institutes for bringing in management trainees in different corporate functions, across functions. Yeah. So we do go visit campuses.
All right, great. So, any tips that you would give people to help their resume stand out? Because the major concern for them is not getting a call unless they go through a referral.
Okay, so I think one is understand the job that you're applying for. So usually there's a job description. People tend to have very standard CVs that they send for every and any other job, right? Especially people with a lot of experience. It's very important for you to sort of customize your CV depending upon what job that you're applying for. It gives the person, who's reading the CV an understanding of what are the kind of skills that you would bring, or what is the kind of value add that you'll be able to do, or would you be able to even do the job that we're asking for, right? So I think that's one, and two is I think brevity and focus on your key achievements. Um, you should, a lot of times we get resumes that run into pages. It's important to keep it brief, simple, to the point, and I think that's one of the tips that you could try to see if it works out better.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip. I think that's something that even I have noticed. People just keep write resumes like a book, so it needs to be brief. Yeah, great. Thank you for sharing that, Akriti. So, tell us something about the training and onboarding process at Jubilant FoodWorks, especially in the context of this new normal.
Okay. So again, completely virtual right now. Um, let's say if you're joining in on the store side of it, there is a formal training program which can go up to 3 months almost. Trying to make the new joinee, who's most likely a fresher, understand all of the processes, products, the way to operate the store, right? At the at the corporate function side or at the managerial side, again, onboarding is completely virtual. I spoke a little bit about how we've been able to build virtual tours. So even if you're joining, let's say, in the in the HR team in the corporate office, you'll still get complete overview of the store. Before COVID, we used to ensure that all of our employees, irrespective of the level that you're joining in, so even if you're joining in the leadership team, you get to spend 2 days in the store, make a pizza, take it back home. But now, since we're trying to avoid that, we're at least ensuring that they're completely virtual tours for our factories, for our stores, that give you a full in-depth insight into how we do operations here. We also assign a buddy who's able to help you through, especially given the fact that most of us are working remotely now. So a buddy in the function who helps you to settle down, and we've also ensured that we handhold all our new joinees through and make them meet a very cross section of people within the first 2-3 weeks of joining, for them to get a better sense of the organization, meet different people, and just get to know a little bit more about the organization as such.
Great, thanks. I have some great information there. So, can you tell us a little bit about the diversity and inclusion plans at Jubilant FoodWorks? How are you looking at D&I?
Okay. So we are again looking at D&I across different aspects. It's a very, very important part of our strategy. So it's a very important part of our strategy. So starting right from the stores, right up to all of the functions and brands, D&I becomes an important area of focus. We're also, in fact, given the fact that we are expanding a lot into product and tech, there's also significant amount of focus there to ensure that as we build those teams, we do create an inclusive environment, and hire people from across. So diversity for us is actually not just gender diversity that we look at. Excuse me. Not just gender diversity, we also look at bringing in people from across different industries and walks of life. Yeah, so those are two aspects of diversity that we focus on a lot.
Great. Thank you. Another interesting question is about mental well-being, emotional well-being. That's really becoming a very talked about topic these days for organizations, especially in the time that we're living in. And you said that you are anyways in a very fast-paced industry. So how do you ensure that kind of a work culture, that work-life balance for your people?
Okay, so yes, we are in a very fast-paced industry, and I think the last 6 months perhaps have been faster than usual, considering the changes that are happening around us. Nevertheless, I think this is a very, very important part for us as an organization. We understand that times like these, especially mental well-being, can take a big right, and there's a lot of focus. Over the last 5 to 6 months. We've tied up with the employee assistance program. There are a lot of mental well-being sessions that we do for across different parts of the people. Every employee and their family member has access to a counselor who they can call completely confidentially. Speak to them about any issues, any stress, anything that they may be. So that's something that we made available to all our employees and their families.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Also, there's a very interesting question about how does the organization view career gaps in the resume? Are you opening to hiring people who have career gaps?
So, I mean, I don't think when you say career gaps, it could be because of many reasons, right? There are people who take sabbaticals to do something completely different, right? The people who take sabbatical to maybe focus on their family, right? I don't think we are opposed to hiring any such people. I think it's important for us as to what the individual brings on the table, and I don't think a career gap is, in fact, I mean, I can speak this as an HR person. I don't think a career gap is viewed negatively at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, not at all.
Great. That does open up opportunities for a lot of people who feel that they are viewed negatively in certain industries. So thanks for sharing that, Aakratee. So another person is asking about the training and development culture, especially during the pandemic. How are you taking care of that?
Oh, so I think virtual is the new normal, and that became our mantra when we started out. There's always has been extensive focus around learning and capability building, and that continues on even now. When the COVID happened, of course, I think the way and the medium of our capability interventions went through a significant amount of change. We had to rethink a lot of ways that we were doing our capability building in. But apart from that, the focus or the areas that we were focusing on hasn't changed. So we have a very, very strong capability program. We look at certain themes that are important for everybody in the organization. We look at specific skills that are required for people in a specific role, specific function. Accordingly, we are building learning journeys, rolling them out. People have access to a lot of online content. And yeah, so so in fact, I think there are more learning opportunities for people now in this COVID times than before.
Great, great. Thanks for sharing that, Akriti. Now, I think it's time for the final question now, and this is based on your the earlier question that we have had about campus placement. So, somebody is asking, are you doing campus placement during the pandemic during these times as well?
So we are perhaps not, perhaps in terms of numbers, maybe not looking at, as high numbers as what we have in the past, but we are. In fact, as we speak, there are some placement rounds that are happening with a couple of campuses as we speak. So yes, we are.
All right, great, great. I think that's all we had time for, Akriti. Thank you so much for being so participative in the discussion, for giving such great insights
My
and
pleasure.
how Jubilant FoodWorks is growing its employee fan base. So, and for all those who have joined us today, please apply for suitable roles at Jubilant FoodWorks. The link is there on your screens. So please log on to indeed.com/jobs, and then you'll find the exact link on your links and in the chat boxes. You can go and see whatever role is suitable for you and apply there. And with this, we come to the end of today's episode. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you once again, Akriti, for giving us time for this interesting conversation. And with that, we'll be live again today at 4 p.m. with another organization, Cap Gemini. So please don't forget to tune in then as well. So thank you once again, everyone. Have a good day ahead, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, Akriti. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.